Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei was the part of Grimm the Human Defender Against Supernatural movie. Before we start, please go support John354 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Supernatural beings have always taken advantage of humans since to them they were just cattle. But over time there were humans capable of facing these creatures with only their ability to recognize, since the supernatural beings hid their appearance, and thus deceive humans, but they could not escape from them. Over time, those humans fought with the supernatural beings with only their intellect, and thus causing much terror. Over time they were called Grimms. Chapter 1. Hayate Issei was a quiet boy who only dedicated himself to studying in the city of Tokyo because he did not want to disappoint his only relative who was at his side. Hey Issei, how about we go out with the rest of the team to celebrate the victory? Issei, you should know that I left the team last year. It doesn't matter, you are still considered part of it since you helped a lot in the past. Issei just smiled upon hearing that, and they both continued on their way to their homes until Issei passed in front of a person, and out of nowhere a pair of black wings came out of that person, but he instantly shrank them. Issei just opened his eyes wide at what he saw. Hey, are you okay? You look lost. Issei, it's nothing, I was just thinking about something. While they both continued on their way, Issei thought, maybe the lack of sleep makes me see things. I'll go to sleep early today. Where both young people continued on their way until they reached the train station and went their separate ways. Issei upon arriving home took a bath and then had dinner and was about to go to bed until he heard a car park near his house. Curious, he went out and was surprised to find out who it was. Issei, Aunt Marie, why didn't you tell me you were coming? Marie, I wanted to surprise you and I noticed that you were about to go to sleep. Issei, never mind, tell me how your medical exams went. Marie, that doesn't matter anymore. Issei noticed his gaze and decided not to say anything about the subject. Issei, how about we go for a walk, it's a beautiful night. Marie just smiled at him and took Issei's arm and they both walked away. Issei, tell me, Aunt, what have you done in this time? Marie, nothing important. I've been relaxing at home and well, I decided to give you a surprise today. Marie, I found something to distract myself with in that place. Issei, I'm glad to hear that. As they continued on their way, Marie stopped her step, as did Issei, since in front of them there was a person dressed in black. Marie, Issei, get out of the way. Where she stepped forward and from her staff she took out a sword and took an attack stance. The person, for her part, from a pocket dimension took out a scythe, leaving Issei surprised by what he saw and even more so when he saw how she took out a pair of black wings and he launched himself into the attack. While Marie was shocked, Issei on the other hand came out of his shock and went to help her by giving the demon a blow where he turned around. So there is more than one, that's better. Giving him a smile and wanting to kill him, but Issei evaded the blow with the scythe by jumping back. Marie for her part took advantage of that moment where she inserted her sword into the demon's chest where he was about to fall to the ground, but in that he turned around and managed to injure Marie where they both fell to the ground. Issei ent. Going to her and taking her in his arms where he then took out his cell phone to call an ambulance, but she stopped him. Marie, okay son, it's late. Issei, it's not. They'll be able to save you. Marie, remember I was sick and I was going to die soon anyway, and I knew someone was following me. Issei, who was he or that thing? Marie, Issei, we come from a family of hunters and I intended to tell you everything today, but that won't be possible. Your parents died because of them, and I took on the mission of finding the killer, but I couldn't find him. Issei, my parents, they died in an accident. Marie, it was a facade, they were Grimms just like you and I. I know you have a lot of doubts about everything that's happening and I'm sorry for not giving you the answers. Starting to cough while spitting up blood. Issei, please and don't go, you are my only relative. Marie, forgive me Issei. Taking out some keys from his pocket and giving them to Issei. Marie, I wish you could live a normal life, but you are able to see them and when they find out they will want to come for you. Issei, who? Marie, every supernatural being. I told you in the past that they would be taking self-defense classes for this time, but I was hoping it wouldn't be necessary. Shedding some tears. Marie, go to K City and take care of the trailer, since there you will find everything you need to defend yourself. Find a new place to hide it, since many people would give anything to find it. Issei, it's okay, Aunt. Marie, you're a great guy and I hope you don't die. Caressing her cheek where seconds later she closed her eyes, and Issei for his part released more tears since his only living relative was gone. Days later Issei found himself in the cemetery looking at his aunt's grave next to his parents. Issei, thank you for everything you did for me, and I know you kept all those secrets for my sake. Touching his aunt's grave. Issei, I'm going to miss you. Where seconds later he stood up and headed home, where upon arriving he took off his tie and sat down on the couch. Issei, what were you doing in that city, girl, for them to follow you? Going to the study and sitting at the desk where he turned on his computer and looked for information about the city, where he found several tourist sites and news as well. Issei, yesterday another young man's corpse was found with a hole in his abdomen. This is the 8th. Now I understand why my aunt spent more time in that city than anywhere else, since something very serious is happening there. Leaving the page and leaning back in the chair. Issei, sorry for what I'm going to do, Aunt, but I will finish your work. Getting up and taking his keys and going to his school to request a transfer, where days later he found himself in front of the exit of his house. Issei, I don't know how much trouble I'll have from now on when I leave this house, but one thing is certain, and that is that I will find those murderers. Closing the door and getting into the taxi that took him to the train station, where it didn't take long to reach his destination. When he arrived, he looked for an apartment to live in since his aunt was staying in a hotel. After leaving his things, he took the keys to the trailer and headed to the place where he was, which was a warehouse for old cars. Where he was surprised to see him. Issei opened the door, and after entering he turned on the lights, and was surprised to see many things around him. Issei, wow. As he began to walk he saw many jars with liquids, where he did not understand anything else when going through the books and seeing how some said angels, fallen angels, demons, etc. Issei went to the closet, and after opening it he opened his eyes wide in surprise, as there were many types of weapons there. Issei, this is more than I expected. Closing the door. Chapter 2. It was a new day, and Issei was waking up in the trailer, as he stayed up all night looking at the pile of things that were there. Issei, I'd like to keep watching, but I have to go study. Looking at his watch, where when he saw the time he suddenly got up and left the place, quickly heading to his apartment, where he took a bath and changed into his new uniform and headed to his new school, where upon arriving he let out a sigh since the bell had not yet rang. That's when he went to the principal to get his schedule and his new classroom, which was for the 2nd year. Having everything ready, he set off, and upon arriving at his new classroom, he knocked on the door and the teacher opened it. Something young is offered to you. Issei, yes, this is my first day and the principal sent me here. Giving him a paper, where the teacher nodded upon reading it, and left him waiting to give the news, where seconds later he opened the door and Issei entered. He is your new partner, I hope you get along. Issei, nice to meet you all, my name is Hayata Issei and I come from Tokyo. I hope we get along. Bowing, where Issei could hear some murmurs, but he didn't pay attention to it. You like something in particular? Issei, I used to play soccer but I stopped. Now I take Tai Chi classes. Do you have a girlfriend? Issei, I still haven't found the right one. Smiling, where some girls were happy. Go somewhere else, they are our girls. Where at that moment the girls saw in a threatening way the two perverts from the academy, where they lowered their gaze. Seconds later the teacher sent Issei to his new seat next to a new student. Issei, nice to meet you, I hope we get along. Understanding his hands, where the girl smiled at him and took it, but at that moment Issei noticed a pair of black wings come out of her. Nice to meet you, my name is Asia Argento. She said it with a chill when she saw Issei's gaze, where he just smiled at her. Issei thought, from what I read yesterday, she is a demon, I have to find a way to defend myself. Letting out a sigh and paying attention in class. The hours passed until it was time for lunch, where Issei went out for a walk to get to know the place better. Issei, it's a nice academy. Continuing on his way until he heard screams from everyone, as they said, "Wani-sama," to two girls who were passing by. He didn't pay attention to it and left the place because it was too noisy. After a few minutes he returned to his classes and stayed like that until the end of classes. When he got home he ate something and changed his clothes and went to the trailer to look for information, where he took the Book of Demons. Issei searched through several pages since most of them were in different languages until he found one in English. Issei, year 1365. I finally managed to get information from a demon, and I found out that there are 72 pillars, being the most important. Among the most important are the Baal, Sitri, Gremry, Phoenix, Agar's clan. In addition to the current leaders being Surzek, Gremry being the Lucifer. Upon reading that, his eyes opened wide, as he hadn't expected to know that yet. Issei, Ajuka Beelzebub, Falbium Asmodeus and Seraphol Leviathan being the four mouths. Turning the page where each one had the information of each house. Issei, I don't think it's possible. I don't think that girl would be so stupid as to use her original surname. Turning the page. Issei, to finish off a demon, the easiest way is with a sacred sword, since normal weapons do not work with them, since they can regenerate, and in addition they have great regeneration, and are strong in themselves. Letting out a sigh at the sight of his situation. Issei, it wasn't easy to create a sacred weapon since I had to kill an angel. Wow, I didn't expect that, honestly. I had some failures, but in the end I managed to create the Demon Slayer. Seeing the drawing, where he got up from his seat and went to the closet and took a sword being black with red. After analyzing it a bit, I put it back and sit down again. Issei, thanks to this weapon I finished off many demons. I hope it helps my successors too. Closing the book, where Issei let out a sigh, and in that he remembered something that his aunt told him in his last minutes in his ear. Flashback. Marie was caressing Issei's cheek, and then she approached him and whispered something in his ear. Marie, the day your parents died, black feathers were found. He was a fallen man. Where seconds later he closed his eyes. End of flashback. Issei took the book and put it away and searched for something related until he found it, being the fallen angels. Issei, year 1432. I came across a strange creature that launched very destructive rays, where I had no choice but to escape. I used several methods to finish it off on other occasions, but it was impossible. But I will not give up. I will finish this thing off. Moving on to the next page. Issei, I managed to create some seals to suppress his power, and I finally have him tied up, and I managed to get some information out of him that was not so easy, since I don't know if he was very brave or very stupid. One more thing here, the Grimms will be able to create seals as well as Fuinjutsu. Issei, the first thing I asked him was his name, and his name was Kokobile, which was true since he was a very ugly man, but that didn't matter. After getting some information out of him, he told me that he was marrying Grimm because he was bored. That bothered me, and I tortured him a little until he begged for mercy, but I continued with my work. Then he told me about the sacred gear that the biblical God had created for humans. The truth is that I was interested, but then I received a warning and left the place without being able to get more information. Issei closed the book as he didn't want to read any further. Issei, what is that about sacred gear? But I don't feel like continuing. I'll leave it for tomorrow, I'm sleepy. Putting the book away and turning off the lights and leaving the place. Chapter 3. A week had passed since Issei arrived at Ko's academy, where he made several friends, where he had a normal life. But in the afternoons he went to the trailer to continue studying and learn a little about seals, where he could only create one storage seal that was enough for him to store his weapons. It was recess, and Issei was lying on a tree until two boys passed over him, and then a group of people stopped. Excuse me, have you seen two boys pass by here? Issei, if they didn't pass by here recently, they went to the left. Thank you. Where the group of girls with a wooden katana ran away, but then one of them tripped over Issei. Issei, sorry, are you okay? If you don't worry, it's my fault. Issei, I'm glad, and tell me why they follow him. They are perverts, they always do the same thing. You know, this is the first time we've talked, by the way, my name is Murayama. Issei, I know, and well, my name is Haida Issei. Murayama, you spend the whole break here. Issei, most of my friends are in clubs and I have no intention of joining one. Murayama, and that's it. Issei, I have things to do. Murayama, I see. Where she got up from the ground just like Issei, where she looked him in the eyes and felt a chill, where Issei saw a pair of demon wings and a red gauntlet come out that surprised him. Murayama, I'll see you another time. Leaving the place where Issei just nodded. Issei thought, maybe that's a sacred gear. Now that I think about it, I still don't know much about it. I need to look for information. Where he left the place, since in a few minutes the bell would ring. Hours later, Issei was heading to the trailer to look for information until he entered the park, and something didn't please him until he heard an explosion. Without a second thought, he went to the place where he saw Murayama fighting a renegade demon. Where the demon gave her a blow that sent her flying, falling near Issei, where she was surprised to see him. Murayama, Hayado, what are you doing here? Issei, something seemed strange to me and I also heard an explosion. I see that you are having a bad time. Murayama, get out of here, it's dangerous. Issei was about to respond, but then another renegade demon arrived. Another one came, so it will be more fun. You keep the demon girl and I'll keep the boy. You take the easiest one, but it's okay. Murayama, I already called Bucho, they will come soon. Issei, who? Murayama, Rias Grimm, I'm part of your team. Issei, hearing that, just let out a sigh. Issei thought, in the end, if it was a demon, I thought it would just be a coincidence. Where he came out of his thoughts when he noticed Murayama nervous. Issei, calm down for now, all that's left is to defend ourselves. Taking a step forward, he took off his jacket and made his sword appear from a seal on his wrist. Leaving the three demons surprised, where Murayama instinctively took a step back. Issei, I hope all those lessons I take help me. Starting to run, where the renegade came out of astonishment and launched himself into the attack, thinking that the sword would be nothing, but when he tried to stop it, his hand was split in two by the sword. The renegade screamed of pain, where the other was surprised to see that as was Murayama. Issei, believe me, demon, you won't escape from here. Pointing the sword at him, where the renegade got upset upon hearing those words. How dare you humans speak to me like that? Going against Issei, where he evaded every attack with difficulty since he was not used to fighting with the sword. At that, the demon launched several attacks where they only grazed Issei, causing his moans since they hurt him. No matter how much you escape, you will eventually get tired since you are human. Issei, and I'm glad I am, because if I wasn't, I would be just as ugly as you. Going against him with all his speed, where he cut him in half, where at the same time he took the opportunity to kill the other one. Murayama, seeing that, opened his eyes wide, as he didn't expect Issei to be capable of doing that. Murayama, since you did that, you are better said than done. Issei just turned around, where she saw his eyes and felt great fear, as she only saw great darkness in Issei's eyes. Issei, I'm a normal human. Starting to walk towards his destination, but then he stopped. Issei, don't tell anyone about this except that girl, okay? Murayama, because. Issei, I don't trust supernatural beings. Giving her a serious look that surprised her, since she always saw him happy. With that, Issei continued on his way, where upon reaching his destination he took the first aid kit and put on some bandages. When he finished, he went to the shelf where the books were and began to search until he found one that said Sacred Gear, where he took it and went to the table and opened it. Issei, year 1443, he met a human who had white and blue wings, where he told me that it was a sacred gear and was called the Divide, where he told me that it was a Longinus that possessed a celestial dragon capable of killing gods. Seriously, while those humans really are lucky. He also told me that his rival was someone who had a red gauntlet that had another celestial dragon. I can already imagine then Murayama will have a very tough fight. Obviously, I had to torture him a little to get him to give me the information with the Dragon Slayer. Wow, but the truth is, it surprises me to know that there are humans with unique abilities like those. Turning to the next page, where he saw several types of sacred, where he was increasingly surprised by the information. Issei, the Grimms can have sacred gear, and I've met several and they've told me the same thing. can't we have something to defend ourselves from those monsters? I hope I don't get involved in unnecessary battles. I got to the middle of the book where I saw the list of the best sacred you consider Longinus. Issei, True Longinus. Zenith Tempest. Annihilation Maker. Lost Dimension. Booster Gear. Divide. Regulus Nemia. Canis Lycaon. Sephiroth Grawl. Incinerate Anthem. Absolute Demise. Innovate Clear. Telos Karma. I hope I don't run into any of them, although I already met the person who has the booster gear. What was that god thinking when creating such things? Letting out a sigh and closing the book since he didn't want to know where he put it anymore, and he lay down since he didn't want to go out and fight again. Chapter 4. It was a new day where Issei was on his way to the academy, where he let out a yawn because he was still tired from what happened the night before, where seconds later someone touched his shoulder. Murayama, hello Hayadu, good day. Issei, good morning, how are you? Murayama, fine though. Issei, don't talk about that topic, it's better to forget. Walking faster to avoid receiving more questions, where Murayama wanted to know more about Issei, but it was impossible for him. A few days had passed since Issei's first battle, where from that moment on he had no more problems, where for him it was enough until someone sat near him. Issei, something's wrong. Murayama, Hayada, I need your help. She told him with a sad look as he looked around and got up from his seat. Issei, follow me, let's talk somewhere more private. She just nodded and they both walked away while some looked at them in amazement at how close they were. They both walked in silence for a few minutes until they reached the rooftop. Issei, tell me what's wrong. Murayama, you know it's a rating game. Issei, no. Murayama, it's when two nobles fight to see who is the strongest and best. Issei, that's why you didn't come to the academy for a week, I guess, and also they lost, no. Murayama, that's right. Issei, Murayama, what do I have to do with this? She raised her gaze where she felt a chill when she saw Issei's eyes, but she still resisted. Murayama, help me like last time. Issei, that occasion you speak of was a coincidence, really. Murayama, it doesn't matter, help me rescue Buchos since she doesn't want to marry that guy. Issei, no wonder the academy was quiet since I don't hear those screams that Rias-senpai says. Murayama, don't say that, she's a good person and you're strong too. Issei, Murayama, you have a dragon with you and it is capable of killing gods. Murayama, how do you know that? Issei, do some research. Murayama, I know you can do something. His name is Razor Phoenix. Issei, wait, a phoenix, don't you know that they are immortal? No matter how much you fight, in the end it is in vain. Murayama, help me please. Bowing, where Issei continued with a calm face, where seconds later he began to walk until he reached the door. Issei, I can't do it. Upon hearing this, she raised her head and turned around a little annoyed. Murayama, is it because of what you said last time about not trusting demons? Issei, it's better to leave it like that. Opening the door and leaving the place, leaving Murayama alone. It was night, and Issei was in his house lying down until he closed his eyes, and then he remembered Murayama's sad face, where he opened his eyes again and let out a sigh and got up. Issei, I'm condemning myself by doing this. Taking his jacket and going to the trailer, where upon arriving he took the Book of Demons and looked for the Phoenix family. Issei, year 1521, I came across a demon that was difficult to kill because when I cut off his arm he regenerated as well as the other parts of his body, where over time he got tired and he just laughed at me. How fast I do here. But after trying many things I discovered that on the outside they are strong but mentally they are very fragile, so I created the poison that I named him Kills Birds. The truth is a bad name. Upon shooting him with an arrow covered with poison, the demon died slowly, while his body melted. In the end, I feel satisfied that I finished him off. After finishing reading, he got up and went to the closet, where he searched until he found a crossbow which he took with about 2 arrows. Then he looked through the bottles he had and found some strange names, but he didn't pay attention to them until he found the one he had. Issei, wow, he still has it. I soaked both arrows a little so that it wouldn't be fatal, and in the end I put them away. Issei, okay, now how do I find that idiot? Thinking about the solution until she remembered that she had the number of the president of the salon where she called her and asked for Murayama's number, since it was an emergency where at first she hesitated but in the end she gave it to her. At that point he dialed her, and it took a few seconds until she answered. Issei, Murayama, I'm Issei, find me at the place where we fought those demons. And without waiting for an answer he hung up and left the place where when he arrived he saw Murayama sitting on a bench, and when he saw Issei he got up. Murayama, I would ask you how you got my number, but the truth is I'm in a bit of a hurry, tell me what's going on. Issei only took out the crossbow and 2 arrows that were covered with a small sheet and gave them to her, who took them with curiosity. Issei, I hope it helps you, you only have 2 shots, I hope you know how to use them. Murayama, what do they do? Issei, when you use them you will know, but remember one thing. Approaching her and placing his hand on her shoulder. Issei, if someone asks where you got that weapon, don't say my name, just make something up and give it back to me, okay? She still didn't understand much, and just nodded, and Issei, seeing that, resumed his path where Murayama was staring at the crossbow. Murayama, I don't see anything special about it, but I still trust you, Issei. Taking out a pamphlet where he instantly teleported to the underworld. Upon arriving, she made a fuss to be allowed in until she reached her destination, where her companions were surprised to see her. Murayama, Rias-senpai, I'm here to help you. Razor, but what an annoying woman, don't you get tired of being humiliated? Murayama, she's my friend and I'll help her as much as I can. So I challenge you to a battle, or are you a chicken? The last thing he said was mockingly, as he wanted to provoke Razor, who smiled when he achieved his goal. Razor, perhaps you wish to die, low-class demon. Surzek, I see you're both in favor of this fight. Razor, this brat deserves to be taught a lesson, and that's what I will do. Rias, Murayama, please don't do it, you've already done a lot for me. Murayama, you are my friend and I will help you. Surzek, well, with that said, where I teleport both of them to the battle site. Razor, today I will punish you for butting into where you are not called. Murayama, the one who will lose here will be you. Taking off his backpack and taking out the crossbow and an arrow, where those who were watching the fight did not know what he was doing, but there was one person who was surprised to see such a weapon. And without wasting time he went to Surzek. Lord Phoenix, Lucifer-sama, please stop this battle. Surzek, because Lord Phoenix, that girl has a Grimm's weapon. Surzek and some who heard that were surprised, since they knew what those weapons were made of. Surzek, how do you know that? Lord Phoenix, in the past my brother faced one and killed him with a similar one. I managed to escape in time before he shot me with that thing. Stop that battle. Surzek, good. While in the combat arena, Murayama aimed at Razor with the crossbow, where he just started laughing. Razor, ha 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 ha, is that your plan to point a gun at me? Old lady, ha ha, you're an idiot. Go ahead, I'll give you the honor of doing it. I won't move. Murayama, without thinking twice, shot, and when he was about to hit Razor, someone destroyed it, where both were surprised to see Surzek there, where instantly the 3 returned to the room. Razor was about to say something, but the Phoenix Patriarch grabbed Murayama by the neck. Lord Phoenix, where did you get that weapon, tell me? He told him this angrily while applying more pressure. Rias, let her go, if she continues she will die. Surzek, let her go or she will know the consequences. The Patriarch, upon hearing this, had no choice but to do so when Murayama fell to the ground and began to breathe with difficulty. Razor, father, what is all this? Lord Phoenix, I saved you from your death. Surzek, girl, where did you get that weapon? Murayama, hearing those words, remembered when Issei told him not to say anything. At that moment, he got up from the ground. Murayama, I had no other options on how to help Rias-senpai and went to the basement of my house and found her there. Sona, it's a lie, right? Lord Phoenix, tell me who gave it to you. Don't you know what that weapon is capable of? Rias, what are you talking about? Lord Phoenix, that weapon killed my brother, and it was a Grimm. The younger demons were shocked to hear that, and the reincarnated ones didn't know what to say. Sona, but they are a myth. Sirzek, believe me, they exist and they are very dangerous. Sona, like Lord Phoenix, that weapon killed my brother completely, there is no trace of his body left. So tell me who gave it to you. Murayama, I don't know. Rias, because you don't want to tell us. Murayama, because if I say it, that person will kill me instantly. He told me that he will kill a phoenix. Where those present were surprised to hear that, and Murayama on the other hand was mentally beating himself up for getting Issei into trouble. Sirzek, we will protect you. Murayama, he is strong, he killed 2 demons in an instant. Rias, like he did. Murayama, I take out a strange sword. Sirzek, tell me, I can see your memories to know who he is. Murayama hearing that opened his eyes wide as he didn't know what to do. Rias, we will protect you so don't worry. Where Sirzek approached her, and when he was about to touch her head something stopped him. Sirzek, what is this? Trying again, but it was impossible, and that Murayama remembered when Issei put his hand on his shoulder. Murayama, let's leave it like that. Rias, we have to talk later, okay? She just nodded, and with that the group returned to the human world. Chapter 5. It was a new day where Murayama was on her way to school with some dark circles under her eyes as she spent the whole night awake, where her classmates asked her many questions about the weapon, where she managed to evade some questions. Plus she was wondering what the heck a Grimm was. While she was lost in her thoughts, she ran into a person, and that was Issei, who was surprised to see him. Murayama, Hayadu, how are you? Issei, good, and I see that you had a bad time. Murayama, Hayadu, we have to talk, see you on the terrace at lunchtime. Where he continued on his way, leaving Issei wondering why, but he didn't take it seriously, where he continued on his way. Hours later, Issei was opening the door where he saw Murayama. Issei, well? Murayama, thanks for the help. Giving him a small backpack with a crossbow. Issei, okay, but it wasn't just this. Murayama, Hayadu, you are a Grimm. Issei hearing that just raised an eyebrow. Issei, because you say so. Murayama, when Razor was about to fight, Sirzek-sama stopped the arrow, and well, some things happened, and well, they mentioned that word. Issei, I see. Murayama, that's all you'll say. That's why I was almost killed, because they thought I was a Grimm, and I have no idea what that is. Issei, Murayama, why do you want to know? Murayama, because this way I can protect you in the future when I'm stronger. But when I see your gaze, I feel like you hate me. Issei, I don't hate you. Murayama, but you said it that time. Issei, one thing is to hate, and another is not to trust. Murayama, I don't know much about the supernatural, and I came to this city to investigate some things, and when I'm done I'll leave again. Murayama, because. Issei, I have nothing tying me here. Turning around and about to leave, but Murayama grabbed his arm. Murayama, Issei-kun, do you want me to show you around the city so we can get to know each other better? Issei, if you join me you'll have a lot of trouble. Murayama, I'll be able to get through this, don't worry, and I'll be fine. Giving him a smile where Issei just let out a sigh and nodded. Issei, I'll tell you a little about the Grimms and why I don't trust them much. Where I walked to the door. Murayama, we'll see each other in the park on Saturday at 8. Issei just raised his hand in confirmation and left the place. Murayama just smiled and also left the terrace with the idea of what to wear that day. The days had passed and Saturday arrived, where Murayama got up early and began to look for clothes until the minutes passed, and when he saw the time he was scared because it was late. She quickly took her bag and left the house, going to the place where when she arrived she saw Issei sitting in a boat. Murayama, sorry for the delay. Issei, it's okay, it's only been 20 minutes. Murayama, what you had to say was that you had just arrived. Getting a little serious. Issei, I'm just telling the truth. Murayama, we can't handle you, but we'll do just fine. Issei, you said days ago that you would show me the city. Murayama, fine, but you'll tell me about that. Issei just nodded and they both set off. Issei, Murayama, I recently found out about all that and it was in the worst way since my aunt, my only relative, died. Murayama was surprised to hear that, and was about to say something but Issei continued. Issei, a demon killed her and he followed her from here. She died in my arms and before leaving she told me that a guy with black feathers killed my family. Murayama, Issei, it's okay, I just came to this city to investigate, and then I'll see what happens. And about the Grimm, I don't know much. I only know that they were people who killed all supernatural beings since ancient times. Murayama, where did they come from? Issei, in the past, humans suffered and little by little people capable of identifying them emerged and with their intellect they created weapons capable of fighting them. That weapon that I lent you has been passed down from generation to generation, and as you see now it is my turn to take care of it. Murayama, you are not afraid of them. Because they are very powerful. Issei, obviously I have it but it's better not to show it, and continue with a normal life. Murayama stopped and out of nowhere lowered his head which surprised Issei. Murayama, I'm sorry because I said before that you forced me to kill a phoenix, and if I said your name you would kill me too. Issei hearing that approached her and gave her a light hit on the head. Issei, it's already past, don't worry. Murayama, but… Issei, you said it just now, right? You were going to protect me, right? Giving me a small smile where Murayama returned it where they both continued on their way. Murayama, Issei-kun, you don't want to meet my friends. Issei, believe me, it's better this way since I have the feeling that if I talk to them, problems will follow me. Murayama, don't exaggerate. Issei, seriously, you recently told me that I threatened to kill you and if your friends find out they won't hesitate to kill me. Murayama, you have a point. Where they both started laughing and continued on their way until someone spoke to them. Akeno, Murayama, who is your friend? Upon hearing that voice, she slowly turned around, more nervous when she saw her senpai's smile. Murayama, this. Seeing Issei where he turned around and in doing so he was surprised to see how Akeno had two different pairs of wings, one of a demon and one of a fallen one. She for her part felt a chill when she saw Issei. Murayama, he's a new student and I'm showing him around. Akeno, I see. Issei, my name is Haida Issei. Approaching Akeno and extending his hand where she hesitated at first since that feeling of danger did not go away but in the end she took his hand. Akeno Himejima, nice to meet you. But I won't bother you, I'll get on with my work. Where he continued on his way, eventually leaving where Murayama found his attitude strange but did not pay attention to it for now. With that they both continued on their way while changing the subject. Chapter 6. It was afternoon and both young people continued on their way until they decided to end it. Murayama, it was actually nice hanging out with you, I learned a few things. Issei, I say the same thing and if they asked about it again you know what to do. Murayama, don't worry, I won't tell anyone, and thanks to that spell you put on me, no one can see my memories. Issei, it was just a precaution. But anyway, see you on Monday. Starting to walk home. Murayama, Issei waits. Hearing that, he stopped and turned around. Issei, what's wrong? Murayama, we can repeat this another time. Issei, sure, but you also have to focus on your training. I won't always help you. Murayama, I know. Where Issei gave her a smile and continued on his way while Murayama stood still while placing her hand on her heart. Murayama thought, maybe I like him, but I barely know him. Drake, love at first sight I guess. Murayama thought, I don't know, there are still many things I don't know about him. Letting out a sigh and heading home. A few days passed since both young men had their outing where at that time Issei only concentrated on studying and nothing else. While Murayama saw him from the corner of his eye from time to time and also went with the group to kill renegade demons and improve his training. Issei occasionally went to the trailer to read and start creating his own weapons. The ones he had were very good, but he wanted to be more careful. It was afternoon, and Issei was on his way home until he saw in the distance how Murayama and Asia were going to his club with two hooded people, and one had something on his back covered in bandages. Issei didn't even think about what it was and instead headed to the trailer to continue his work. When he arrived at his destination, he took out all his tools and continued with his work all night because he liked to create new things. The next day, Issei was on his way to school with some dark circles under his eyes since he didn't sleep. Issei thought, "It was worth it now, I'm prepared in case a fallen one attacks me." While he was still in his thoughts, someone walked by his side, which he hadn't even noticed until someone touched his shoulder. Murayama. Issei. Issei, hey, when did you get here? Murayama, I was talking to you a little while ago, but no, are you deaf? Issei, I was thinking about some things and what happens. Murayama, well, yesterday. Issei, you know I'd rather not know. Walking faster since I really didn't want to know what was happening. Murayama, hey. Following him while he ignored her words. A few days had passed where Issei noticed tension in Murayama and his partner Asia, but he preferred not to ask since he had an idea of what was happening. At the end of classes, Issei took his things and headed home quickly because if he stayed any longer something would happen. When he got home, he changed his clothes and cooked a little, and when he finished he did his homework and then went to take a bath. Issei, this is relaxing. Letting out a sigh of satisfaction, he stayed in the bathtub for a few minutes, and when he finished he went straight to his bed and was ready to sleep, but then his cell phone rang, and when he saw who it was he thought about it for a bit since it was Murayama. After thinking about it a bit, he decided to answer. Issei, good night. Murayama, Issei, I am at the academy, and we are being attacked by some very ugly dogs and a fallen angel. Issei, upon hearing the last thing, got up from his bed a little seriously. Issei, I see. Hanging up her call where Murayama was a little surprised to hear that word. But she came out of the surprise since Rias was calling her. Issei, on the other hand, stood there with a serious look as he clenched his phone. Issei, I won't have another chance like this. Changing clothes and leaving his house towards the trailer since he had to look for his weapon. When he arrived at his destination, he opened the closet and took out a long box and put it on the table, and then went to where the jars were. Issei, there are many ways to finish off a fallen one, but the most painful is to fuse sacred and demonic energy. Seeing two jars with two liquids, he took them and began to mix them, which did not take him long. When he finished, he had 2 bullets, which he put in a cartridge and left with the box heading to the academy. Minutes later, Issei could see the academy in the distance, where he took another path and went up to a building where he opened the box and began to assemble the weapon, being a rifle. I take an attack position and noticed the fallen man fighting with Murayama and how he was laughing. Issei, this is for my parents. Pulling the trigger where a bullet came out. Meanwhile, inside the academy, the Grimm group was tired, and when Gabriel was about to say something hit his chest where he fell to the ground and began to scream in pain, leaving those present surprised by what was happening. A person who was watching the fight from above was shocked by what happened and began to look for who the culprit was, but nothing came of it. Since Issei had put a seal so as not to be detected. Valley, seeing that, decided to go down and take Gabriel so that nothing would happen. Issei, seeing someone enter wearing white armor, charged his rifle again. Issei, so you are the Hakurakoi. I'm sorry, but that fallen one is not leaving here. Meanwhile, the group was surprised by who arrived plus Murayama, since they had told him about his rival. Valley, it's not time for our fight yet, Red. For now, I'll take this guy. Lifting Gabriel up as he continued to scream in pain. When he stood him up, Issei fired his second shot, hitting him in the other chest, falling to the ground again in pain while Valley concentrated on looking for the cause, but nothing. Gabriel, this hurts to take off. Taking off his shirt as he started to bleed. Issei, seeing that, began to disassemble the rifle and put it away. Issei, I hope you suffer when you fall, and don't worry, the pain will be unbearable even more when the phoenix poison takes effect. I'm glad I introduced it to the recipe. Going down the building and heading home. Meanwhile, those present at the academy were in shock at what they were looking at as they saw how Gabriel's skin was beginning to fall off. Asia fainted upon seeing that, as did Irina, since it was too much for them. Rias, what the hell is going on? Murayama thought. Issei, what kind of weapon did you use on him? Seeing how Gabriel was dying of pain and his bones were beginning to show. Vala, what kind of weapon could this have been to cause such a thing? Albion, I don't know, but it's a very painful death. I wouldn't wish it on Drake. Where both noticed Gabriel's suffering that lasted several minutes until there was no trace of him left. Vala, which one of you did this? Rias, are you an idiot? We were here when all that happened. Valley, I know he was an idiot, but he didn't deserve such a thing. Akeno, and if it was him? Vala, who are they talking about? Akeno, the Grimm. Valley, upon hearing that, just raised an eyebrow since he had no idea who it was. Albion, I haven't heard that name in centuries. Vala, you know who it is. Albion, who are they rather? It's best not to mess with them, even though they are human, they have unique abilities, since many of my bearers were killed through torture. Drake, I agree with him on that. Vala, I don't care who it is because when I see him I will kill him. Leaving the place where the rest would not know how to explain what happened. Chapter 7. It was a new day where Issei was in class, only he felt a look for a while, and that was Murayama, where he only let out a sigh at the situation. At lunchtime Issei received a message from Murayama where he asked him to go to the terrace, where he just left a sigh and went to the place. Issei, yes. Murayama, you did that with Gabriel, didn't you? Issei, what's wrong with it? Murayama, everyone is looking for you, or rather for Gabriel's killer. What kind of weapon did you use? Issei, I created it myself and that's all. Turning around. Murayama, aren't you afraid? Issei, I'll leave when the holidays come. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders by killing that boy. Making his way to the exit, Murayama was left shocked by what she heard. At the end of the day Issei was on his way home until someone stopped him. Issei, what's going on? Murayama, you're really leaving? Issei, this city is the center of trouble and you attract most of it. Murayama, don't say that. You know, after the parents' visit there will be a meeting of the leaders of the 3 factions. Issei, why are you telling me that? Do you want me to kill someone or what? Murayama, of course not. Issei, am I your private assassin since every time you get into trouble you call me? Murayama, because you're the only one I trust. Issei, and your companions? Murayama, they are my friends but I feel very safe with you. Issei, maybe it's because everyone is afraid of me for what I am. Murayama, don't say that. I know there's a part of you that wants help. Giving Issei a hug, he didn't know how to respond anymore when he heard the following. Murayama, I love you Issei because you always speak the truth to me and I don't like the idea of you leaving. Issei, you know you're getting into trouble by being like this with me. Murayama, I don't care either. Pulling away from the hug and giving her a smile. Murayama, for the moment no one will know and you will accept being my boyfriend, and just so you know I don't accept a no. Issei, I can think about it at least. Murayama, sure, I'll give you 5 minutes. Issei, and you call me impatient. Murayama, ha 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 ha, I had to learn something from you. Issei, we can try it, okay? Upon hearing that, she hugged him again, only this time Issei hugged her back. Minutes later, they both set off on their way. Murayama, well, now that you're mine you're not going to leave, right? Issei, do I even have a choice? Murayama, no. Issei, so there you have the answer, and good, because you tell me that about the meeting. Murayama, you should know that when important people get together something always happens, you know, like an attack. Issei, get straight to the point of what you want from me. Murayama, if something happens please don't go. I don't want anything to happen to you. Issei, wow, that's new. Murayama, I'm being serious, so please don't go. Issei, okay, and one more thing, on Father's Day I won't be going to the academy. I have nothing to do there that day. Murayama, so where will you go? Issei, I have some things to do. Murayama, I can go with you. Issei, it will be another time. But well, go to your house and I'll go to mine. Patting her on the head and taking another path, leaving Murayama thoughtful about everything that happened but still happy because she was able to express her feelings. Issei on the other hand was thinking about the meeting. Issei, that idiot will get into trouble that day. Heading to the trailer to find a solution. Days later the parents' meeting arrived where Murayama saw Issei's seat empty. He on the other hand spent 2 days in the trailer looking for a solution until he found it. Issei, well, I just have to prepare for that day. Hours later it became night where the 3 leaders were in the room with company. Surzek, after so many years we can finally get here. Michael, they were unnecessary wars, and we have few angels. Azazel, for my sake, I'll have more time for my inventions. Surzek, but before all this you know what happened to Kokabeel. Azazel, according to the report Vala gave me, someone from outside killed him, but he didn't leave any trace of what he used. Surzek saw Rias where she approached and put the hologram where he advanced until the moment where the first shot arrived. Michael, that was a bullet but that hurt him so much. Seraphal, we have a guess that it was a Grimm. Both leaders were shocked to hear that. Azazel, I thought there was no more. Michael, they are heartless people who caused so many deaths in the past. Murayama, you hate them. Azazel, they are humans who kill every supernatural being without any shred of compassion. Vala, why so afraid if they are only humans? Azazel, although they are few, they are capable of doing a lot of damage to us with their weapons. Surzek, there is one here and young Murayama interacted with it. Everyone turned their gaze to her where the brown-haired girl got nervous. Azazel, as is he. Murayama, sorry, I can't say anything. Michael, because. Surzek, he used something on her and that's why she can't tell who she is and also we can't see her memories. Azazel, I see, just don't mess with him, that's more than enough. Michael, you're right. Sona, as Azazel-sama said, they kill anyone without mercy, but there must be a reason. Michael, it's part of their nature, and humans are afraid of the unknown. Murayama, and if they were just defending themselves? As I know, in the past both the fallen and the demons abused humans, or am I lying? Both Azazel and Surzek didn't say anything since she was right. Drake, we all have our bad moments from the past and sooner or later we had to pay for it. Seraphal, but you're a dragon, how can he hurt you? Drake, my bearer suffered for me. With the few Grimms I met, they were to be feared. Albion, he's right and some of them do have Samuel's blood, I have no idea how they got it back then. Upon hearing that, there was complete silence until suddenly time stopped, leaving some frozen by their low level. Issei on the other hand was outside the academy. Issei, it's going to be a long night. Chapter 8. Issei upon entering the barrier noticed the change since most of it was frozen. Issei, wow, and I thought nothing bad would happen in the end, I was wrong. Taking out the demon slayer to be prepared just by doing so he looked up at the sky and there were people with capes where one upon seeing Issei launch several attacks that the black-haired man managed to evade where he instantly took out his crossbow firing an arrow at him, killing the magician. Issei, good thing I came prepared. Continuing on his way to see how the situation was going. Some time later Issei stayed out of everything that had happened since he didn't want to get too involved, and in that he saw Azazel's fight with Kateria and how the fallen one cut off an arm. Seconds later Issei saw how Vala hit Azazel and revealed who he was, surprising everyone except Issei since he had realized not long ago. Then Issei noticed how Murayama activated his armor and launched an attack where both dragons collided fists. Issei, if you continue like this, Murayama will fall very quickly. Taking out his rifle where he laid it on the ground and took out a couple of bullets. Issei, I hope you suffer a little Vala Lucifer since you have hurt my partner. Taking an attack position, but not before putting a silencer on the reflex and then waiting for the right moment. Meanwhile, Vala had taken away the little power that Murayama had by giving him a blow where the brown-haired girl fell to the ground, and her armor was destroyed. Vala, you are weak and you call yourself my rival. Murayama, this won't end like this, I'm going to defeat you. Activating his armor with the little strength he had and going against Vala and wanting to hit him, but he stopped him with his palm and then squeezed Murayama's fist, causing moans of pain. Vala, you're no match for me, it's a shame. Kicking her in the abdomen where Murayama fell near her friends who helped her up. Vala started walking while Issei was in position, and when he was ready he just formed a small smile and fired. Where the bullet came out at a high speed and hit Vala's arm, piercing his armor and leaving several in shock at what happened. Seconds later Vala's armor disappeared and he began to scream in pain while holding his arm, where Issei for his part took his weapon and left the place so that they would not look for him. Valley, Albion, what's wrong with me? This hurts me, do something? Albion, it is impossible for me to help you, this is Samuel's poison and sacred energy. Only one person is capable of achieving such a combination, and that is a Grimm. Valley, get out of there, damn it, because I'll kill you in the worst way possible. Issei for his part barely heard her words, did not pay attention to them and continued on his way. Vala threw himself to the ground in pain as he had never experienced such a thing. Albion, you'll have to hold on while I try something. Murayama, well, in the end someone gave you what you wanted so much, right? Valley, I will find him and kill him. Murayama, you should be thankful that I didn't kill you since I only gave you a warning. Vala only let out a moan of pain where seconds later Biko arrived and took his partner away since he was suffering. Biko, upon arriving at his base, took Vala to a sofa where his companions were a little surprised to see how Vala's arm was being destroyed. Kuroka, what happened to him? Biko, I have no idea. When I arrived I saw him in that situation. Albion, a Grimm attacked him. Kuroka, that's a Grimm, I think I've heard that before but I don't remember. Leify, a Grimm is a group of humans that kills all supernatural beings. The truth is that I'm curious to know why they do it. They must have a reason. Arthur, if we see him, the first thing we would do is attack him since we won't give him time to react. Leify, but what if he's a good person? Albion, they are assassins who kill whoever crosses their path, so it is better to kill them. Leify, we all have a reason why we fight and… Arthur, Leify, enough, stop defending the enemy, don't you see how he has left our comrade? Kuroka, for now I will help him relieve his pain so that Albion can do his thing. Leify, help me. She didn't say anything else and just nodded. Somewhere else, more specifically at the academy, a treaty had already been signed. Surzek, how the hell did that Grimm get into this place undetected? Azazel, I have no idea, but it's good to achieve all this under our noses. Seraphal, why didn't he attack us too? Michael, maybe he will do it later, it is better to be alert and look for that person. Murayama, because thanks to him that idiot left. Surzek, and who says we won't be next? Murayama, I don't think all Grimms are bad, there must be some that are good. Rias, you better get that idea out of your head, Murayama. No Grimm is good, the only thing they have in mind is killing. Azazel, she's right. If you ever meet the one who threatened you, call for reinforcements, and then we'll finish him off. But before that, we must interrogate him and ask him to tell us where his weapons are. Murayama, if you talk like that, it makes it seem like we are the bad guys here. Rias, many demons died at their hands and some had done nothing. Sona, she's right, so if you find it, you better call us. Murayama just nodded. Meanwhile, Issei arrived at the trailer and put all his weapons in the closet and lay down on the small bed. Issei, Murayama, you must become strong. I will not always be able to protect you. Letting out a sigh and closing his eyes to sleep. The next day Issei walked to school where instantly someone grabbed his arm, being Murayama, surprising some who were nearby. Murayama, good morning, darling. Issei, good morning. Murayama, you should be more affectionate too, don't you think? Issei, in a relationship, the more affectionate they are at the beginning means the less the relationship will last. Murayama, you're joking, right? Issei, who knows? Murayama, it still doesn't matter and thanks for yesterday. Issei, Murayama, you must train. I will not always save you. Remember, I have my limits, and there will be places where I will not be able to go to help you. Murayama, I know, and during the holidays I will go to train in the underworld, and Bucho informed me about it. Issei, good. Murayama, and what will you do on vacation, since unfortunately we won't be able to see each other? Issei, I'm going to my old town to look for some things and see some friends. Murayama, I understand, I hope you have a good time. Issei, I would say the same thing, but I have a feeling that things will go badly for you, ha ha ha. Murayama, hey. Frowning, Issei walked faster and Murayama followed him while talking to him, but he didn't pay attention to any of his words. Chapter 9. The vacation had begun, where Issei took his things and went to his old city, where he did not have time to say goodbye to Murayama since she left before he could. The trip was short for Issei, where upon reaching his destination he smiled and began to walk through the city. On the other hand, Murayama was a little upset because her teammates did not give her the opportunity to say goodbye to her partner, but over time she put it aside and concentrated on training. During the journey, Murayama fell asleep, and while doing so had some dreams with Vala where he instantly woke up. Murayama, Drake, for a few days now I've had the same dreams that happen. Drake, I was afraid this would happen, honestly. Murayama, what do you mean? Drake, whenever our two bearers meet they are destined to fight to the death, and well, on that occasion you only suffered defeat. Murayama, get to the point. Drake, you, besides being a demon, are also a dragon, and well, when a male and a female fight and the female loses, she begins to feel something for the male. Murayama opened his eyes wide upon hearing that. Murayama, don't play with me. Drake, it's true that with time you will increasingly have the need to see him just like him. Murayama, this is stupid. I recently started a relationship with Issei and I love him. Drake, whatever you say, but you better be prepared for whatever comes, because if time passes her hormones will increase and well, you have to get an idea. Murayama, then I just have to kill him so that none of that happens. Drake, it could be, but he is stronger than you. Murayama, then I just have to train harder than usual on this trip. He said it seriously because he had a purpose. A few days had passed where the vacation began, where Murayama and his friends began to train, where Murayama tried harder than ever to fulfill his purpose. While Issei at that time went out with his old friends to various places where everyone had fun. It was night, and Issei was walking towards his hotel until he felt a chill where he continued on his way, and while he did so he had the feeling that something bad would happen. Unfortunately for him, that was the case, since in front of him there were two people with a big smile that Issei instantly identified as demons. Issei was about to draw his sword when instantly something hit the two demons, killing them instantly, where Issei looked up and saw a blonde-haired girl in a corner where she looked down upon seeing Issei. Leify, there is no danger anymore and everything you saw. She said it a little nervously since she didn't expect there to be people near the place. Issei, seeing how she acted, just smiled a little. Issei, don't worry, it's nothing. If it weren't for your help, those demons would have killed me right now. Leify was surprised when he heard the word demon and instantly saw Issei where he was still with a small smile. Issei, still, thanks for helping me. Extending his hand, Leify took it, being alert in case he was planning something. Issei, my name is Haida Issei. Leify Pendragon, nice to meet you too. She told him with a smile, where Issei was surprised when he heard that last name since he had heard about it in one of the books. Issei, you're a hunter too. Leify, what do you mean by that? He said this while raising an eyebrow, as he didn't understand where Issei instantly mentally slapped himself for saying such words. Issei, sorry, I used the wrong words, he. Leify, I see. But since you know about demons, I don't sense any magic power or sacred gear in you. Issei, I don't know, honestly. Leify looked into Issei's eyes, where she instantly felt a great chill, where she took a few steps back. Leify, you are a Grimm. While he had a magic circle in his hand ready to attack, Issei saw that and his eyes widened. Issei, Wait, what do you mean by that, and what is a Grimm? Leify, I know very little about you Grimms, but from what I know, to identify a Grimm you have to look into their eyes. Issei, what did you see? Leify, an endless darkness. Issei, wait before you kill me, I'll just say it doesn't hurt. Leify was even more surprised to see him so calm upon hearing that. Leify, aren't you planning on defending yourself? Issei, if I do this, you'll have more reasons to kill me. Leify, you are a Grimm, you only kill. Issei, and what does that have to do with it? My parents and my aunt were killed by supernatural beings, and I don't go around killing whoever crosses my path. Leify, but... Issei, don't we have the right to defend ourselves against you? You think humans haven't suffered for so long? Leify, upon hearing that, decided on the magic circle. Issei, just because I'm a Grimm doesn't make me a psychopath. Leify, but because you seriously injured Valley, or rather the Hakurakoi. Issei, he was going to hurt someone close to me and that's why I stopped him. Leify, I see. Issei, I just want to know who killed my parents, and for that I have to investigate. Leify, how many have you killed? Issei, only renegade demons and a fallen one. Leify, you're not afraid of getting caught. Issei, for now only you and one other person know about me. But soon more will know since you will tell your friends no. Leify, my brother told me that you guys just kill without asking. Issei, everyone has their opinion and what's yours? Leify, as I said before, everyone has their own reason for fighting. But why did you call me a hunter just now? Issei, while reading a book I saw the name Arthur Pendragon since he was a Grimm. Leify was surprised when he heard that. Issei, I thought you would be too, but there are times when it doesn't happen to your descendants. Leify, but as far as I know, there is nothing written about that in my family. Issei, it's better this way, or do you want everyone to attack your family? Leify, I understand. You said no book. He said it with some joy because he liked learning new things. Issei, yes. Leify, I can see it. Issei, no. Leify, because. Issei, I don't know you, and just a little while ago you were about to kill me. Leify, that's in the past. Tell me, do you want to be my friend? Extending his hand where Issei initially hesitated but took it. Issei, you won't tell anyone the truth about me. Leify, obviously not because I want to learn new things. Issei, we'll see that over time, besides you're not a witch. Leify, that's right. Issei, great, actually I thought they were. Leify, old and with a big nose and a wart. Issei, yes. Leify, ha 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 ha, obviously it's not like that. But I like creating spells. Issei, I see now that the truth is that there are many things that I don't know. Leify, well, I have to go back because if I take any longer, my brother will look for me. Issei gave her a paper with his number on it which she kept. Issei, be careful. Leify just smiled at him and left the place where Issei let out a sigh and continued on his way. Chapter 10. A few days had passed where Issei trained and continued creating new seals where he was proud of his progress since he was doing it alone. On some occasions Leify called him to know more about the Grimms where Issei couldn't help but laugh at his behavior, but he liked it. Leify, on the other hand, when she called Issei, she did it secretly from her brother because, well, if he found out about their friendship he would quickly go after Issei. Issei partially called out to Murayama, but she didn't answer where Issei got the idea that she was training, so he decided not to bother her. Issei, there's only 1 week of vacation left. The truth is that this time was fun, especially listening to so many theories from Leify. Forming a smile just remembering. Issei, maybe in the future I'll take her to the trailer to see her surprised face. Getting up from the rock where he decided to go down the mountain since he was training. During the day he spent time at home watching some movies, and when he was about to go to sleep he received a call from Murayama where he was glad that he called him after so long. Issei, Murayama already. He couldn't finish as she beat him to it with a worried voice. Murayama, Issei, I need your help, we are fighting against the god Loki. Issei, upon hearing those words, instead of showing caution, made a sad face. Issei, I can't do anything. Murayama, you must have some idea. Issei, Murayama, I have my limits, so don't say that. Murayama, I'm sorry, I'll call you later. Ending the call, Issei lowered the phone from his ear where he sat on the bed and seconds later threw the phone to the floor, destroying it instantly. Issei, maybe you'll just call me when there's no problem. And for your information, I'm fine. Letting out a small laugh to himself. Issei, I sound like a madman talking to himself. But well, let's see what I find in that place. Putting on his shoes and picking up his phone, the screen was destroyed but still barely functional. Issei, I'll have to buy a new one tomorrow. Leaving his house and taking the bike and going to the trailer since 2 days before he had returned to K. It didn't take long to get there, where he turned on the lights and began to search, where luckily he found a book that surprised him. Issei, how to seal a goddamn, these Grimms had everything, maybe they didn't have a life since they only dedicated themselves to hunting. Letting out another sigh, he opened the book and began searching for a Norse god, which didn't take him long to find. Issei, I have no idea how they got to Asgard, but they are lucky. To seal a Norse god, only a level 6 seal is required if the god is weak, but if it is a high-level god it must be level 10. In addition to that, it must have the blood of one of their race. Damn, since Loki is the son of an ice giant, how will I get such nonsense? Where by instinct he turned around to where the containers were. Issei, I hope it's just my imagination. Going to the shelf where he searched until he found it, causing Issei to fall to the ground in surprise. Issei, damn, these Grimms are serious stuff. I don't want to know how they got her. He got up again and went to the book where he continued reading, and luckily he already had the seal, where he was surprised because it was shining with various colors. Issei, great. Now how will I use it against him? Closing his eyes to think until he remembered something, where he took out his destroyed phone and dialed a number, and after a few seconds someone answered. Leify, Issei-sama, I don't think this is a good time. Issei, we already talked about Sama, but well, where are you? Leify, in the underworld with my companions. Where he had separated from the group in order to talk to Issei, where he was always on alert in case someone approached. Issei, don't tell me you're close to Loki, right? Leify, how did you know? Issei, intuition, I guess, but leaving that aside, you would do me a favor. Leify, yes, I can, of course. Issei, I need you to use a seal against Loki so that this silly battle ends, but I don't know how to give it to you. Leify, don't worry about it. Creating a spell in her hand where it appeared near Issei, causing his astonishment. Leify, put it there. Issei did as he said and placed the seal where Leify was surprised when he took it out. Issei, and before you ask what it is, I won't tell you. Where Leify pouted and Issei laughed as he got an idea of what happened. Issei, just look at Loki and the seal will do the rest. And thank you very much, and be careful. Leify, thank you. Where the call ended and Leify returned to his group. Kuroka, where did you go? Leify, I didn't want to see that fight. Kuroka, well, they're having a bad time, as you can see. Leify saw the situation, and after looking for Loki he saw him floating and was about to say something until the seal he had in his hands went where it sank into the ground, and seconds later chains came out of the ground taking Loki, leaving everyone surprised plus the leaders. Leify was in shock at what he was seeing, as he had not expected such a thing. Loki tried to free himself, but it was impossible for him to do so where the chains attracted him to the ground where Loki touched it, and a cage formed, and seconds later Loki disappeared, leaving a great silence. Kuroka, wow, that was it. Biko, that's new. Arthur, Leify, do you have any idea what kind of spell they used to do such a thing? Leify, I have no idea, it's something new for me too. Where I internally let out a sigh when I noticed that no one noticed what had happened. Minutes later the group left the place where Leify was still looking astonished. Leify, I'm going out for a moment. Arthur, where are you going? Leify, I need air for a moment, I'm going to fly. Arthur, don't be long. She just gave him a nod and left the place where when leaving the base she teleported to Ku and instantly called Issei where they met in a park. Minutes later Issei arrived on his bike a little tired since he went as fast as he could. Issei, how did it go? Leify, it was great, tell me what that is. Issei, I don't know what you mean. Leify, come on, don't play with me because that was amazing, I didn't feel any magic. Issei, they are seals and only Grimms can use them. Leify, but to be able to seal even a god, that's great, wait, now I realize where it went. Issei, to nothingness since his body was destroyed in the process. Leify, wow, the truth is that making stamps is really cool. Issei, the truth is not. Looking down at Leify, he noticed sadness in Issei's eyes. Leify, something's wrong. Issei, tell me Leify, do you know why Grimms don't live long? Leify, for his struggles. Issei, besides that. Leify, I don't know. Issei, the stronger the seal, the bigger the sacrifice. Leify, what do you mean by sacrifice? Issei, the seal I used is level 7 and my current level is 5, and to reach that level for a moment I had to give 2 years of my life to create it. Leify, but... Issei, Grimms die young because they use seals a lot and the higher the price, the same. Leify, then why did you do it? Issei, there's someone who needed my help. Leify, don't do it again. You shouldn't give your life for others. Issei, thank you for those words and also thank you for helping me. Leify, we are friends and that's what friends do. Giving Issei a hug that he reciprocated. Minutes later they separated where Leify raised her little finger. Issei, and that's it. Leify, promise me you'll never use that again, okay? Issei, I promise. Taking Leify's pinky where she gave him a smile. But Issei with his other hand crossed his fingers since he couldn't promise such a thing. They both talked a little more about trivial things where later Leify left as did Issei. Chapter 11. Summer vacation had ended and Issei was on his way to the academy where, for good or bad luck, he did not meet Murayama as before, so he decided to continue on his way. Already in the classroom he noticed that everyone was present until his partner where he decided to go to his seat and then talk to her since the last time they spoke was when he asked for her help. Classes went on normally until recess time when Issei sent a message to Murayama to meet up on the roof. Minutes later they were both up there. Issei, your vacation was good. Murayama, aside from the battle against that god, everything was fine. Tell me you did that. Issei, what a thing. Murayama, nothing better, forget it. You know I'll be strong to be able to protect you in the future. Issei, just don't bother. Tell me you have plans for Saturday. Murayama, no. Issei, well, see you at 6 p.m. in the park. Murayama, it's a quote. She told him with a big smile where Issei just nodded. Issei, put on something fancy. Murayama, I'm already getting excited, he. Issei, I'm glad to hear that. They both talked about trivial things until the break time ended. The week passed quickly where Murayama trained every night as did Issei with his seals and fighting style. Until the expected day arrived where Issei was putting on his suit and decided to leave his house until he reached the park. Minutes passed and nothing in time continued where when she looked at the clock she noticed that it was already 6:45 until her phone rang, and it was her. Issei, yes. Murayama, Issei, I'm sorry since an emergency occurred, we have to go get some renegade demons. Issei, I see. Murayama, it will be another time, tell me what do you think about next Saturday? Issei, of course. Murayama, good and be careful. Ending the call, he called the restaurant again to cancel his reservation. After that, she stood up and threw away the bouquet of flowers she was holding as well as a box with a necklace. Issei, I wanted to give you a surprise for our relationship that lasted more than a month, but it was all in vain. Taking off his tie and going home, whereupon arriving he took off his suit and lay down on the bed. He was about to sleep until his phone rang, and when he saw who it was he hesitated to answer, but in the end he did. Issei, Leify, something's wrong. Leify, maybe I can't call you. Issei, well, yes. Leify, I can't hear you. Something's wrong and don't lie to me, okay? Issei just let out a sigh and told her the situation, where Leify was a little surprised to learn that she was a partner of the Security. Leify, I understand and don't worry, maybe another time we can. Issei, I guess. Leify, and what do you have planned right now? Issei, the truth is, nothing, just sleep. Leify, it's still early, how about we go out and have fun? Issei, where to? Leify, to an amusement park since I have never been to one. Issei, seriously? Leify, that's right, because my parents are really boring, and my brother, well, he's the same. Issei, I understand and it sounds good. See you in 10 minutes at the park. Leify, because always the park since you just came back from there. Issei, it's just that it's close to me, ha 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 ha. Leify, ha 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 ha, I see. See you then. Ending the call, where Issei got up from his bed and put on more comfortable clothes, where he left his house. Leify was looking for suitable clothes for the place, where when he saw the time he searched more quickly, where he put on blue pants and a pink shirt. Before leaving he checked to see if anyone was nearby, and after making sure he left the place, where upon arriving he saw Issei sitting on a bench. Leify, sorry for the delay. Issei, 5 minutes have already passed. Leify, what you should have said is that you had just arrived too. Issei, I'll keep that in mind. Where they both started laughing at what was said. Issei, so where are we going? Leify, to Disneyland. Issei, sounds good, I've never been there. Leify, well, it will be much better, ha 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 ha, so we will both have the same expression of surprise. Issei just nodded, where Leify created a magic circle, where they both went to their destination. Upon arrival they walked a little until they reached their destination, where they both had a big look of surprise on their face, where both upon seeing each other could not help but laugh at their own expressions. Meanwhile, in the underworld, the leaders were gathered together discussing what happened to Loki, as to this day they still had no idea what happened. Odin, I sent many of my soldiers to look for him where no one could find him. Surzek, how could he disappear like that out of nowhere? Ajuka, I went to the place to check, and when I was about to give up I realized something. Michael, and that would be it. Ajuka, there were traces of something that hadn't been felt for a long time. Surzek, don't tell me a Grimm. Ajuka just nodded. Odin, I hadn't heard that name for years, I thought they had become extinct. Azazel, from the reports I receive, the last living Grimm reported to me was killed a few months ago, being Marie. Surzek, that woman did cause us trouble. Now that I think about it, that woman had no family. Azazel, let me see. Taking out some papers and searching, he was surprised when he saw a name. Odin, well? Azazel, he has a nephew named Haida Issei. Surzek called one of his guards and asked him to look for him. Surzek, well, now we know who he is. Michael, how old are you? Azazel, 16. Michael, so young and killing that is not good. Odin, I want to talk to the first one so he can give me answers. Azazel, I just want to know where he gets all this information. It will be interesting to know. Surzek, he's a Grimm and nothing good is expected from them. Azazel, I know. The last time I killed a Grimm I made it look like an accident. Well, there were 2 of them though. Surzek, I don't even remember. They continued talking about the topic of what to do with the Grimm. Meanwhile, Issei and Leify were going down the roller coaster, where they were both laughing with excitement. At the end they both walked a little dizzy, where Issei could not stand it anymore and vomited. Leify, seeing that, began to laugh, where Issei, realizing, smiled and took Leify's hand and brought her closer to her vomit, where she instantly vomited too. Issei, ha 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 ha, that's what you get for making fun of me. Leify, you'll pay me back. Having a serious face, where Issei took a step back. Issei, see you later. Leify, don't run, chicken. Where they both had a smile for everything that was happening, until Issei stopped, causing Leify to collide with his sword. Leify, hey, what's going on? Issei, Someone knows about me. Leify, what do you mean? Issei, my house is full of seals, and when someone enters without my permission, they activate and set off an alarm. He's also a demon. I think they already know about me. Leify, what will you do? Issei, nothing. Leify, you should escape. Issei, if I do that, they'll suspect me even more. I just have to wait. Leify, Issei, if something happens, tell me if I will do. Issei, don't worry and thank you. Holding her friend's hand. Issei, let's have fun. Giving him a smile that Leify reciprocated, and they both continued on their way. Chapter 12. A few days had passed since Issei went to the amusement park with Leify, where at that time many supernatural beings were following him without him realizing it. He was at the academy where classes were about to end, and minutes later the bell rang to end classes. Issei walked alongside Murayama since she didn't have a club. Murayama, tomorrow is Saturday, and tell me, are you ready for the date? Issei, sure, but this time you decide the place. Murayama, sure, I already have an idea in mind, just wait, yeah? Issei, of course. Where they stopped their steps as each one took a separate path. Issei went straight to his house since he had nothing else to do but rest. When he arrived, he made his dinner, and after finishing he went to lie down. Issei, tomorrow will be a good day. Having a smile on his face and falling asleep. The next day he had his breakfast and got ready and headed out of the academy. When he arrived, he was waiting but nothing. Half an hour later he received a call from his partner. Murayama, sorry. I had a raiding game today, and because of the excitement of the date I completely forgot about it. Issei, I see. She was about to answer him, but he just hung up. After taking just one step, two people stood in front of him, and when he was about to say something, someone hit him in the back, causing him to fall unconscious. When he opened his eyes, he only saw a table in front of him and chains on his hands. Then 4 people he didn't know entered. Issei, who are you and what do you want? Surzek, we can finally see who the Grimm is. Issei, instead of showing surprise, had his face calm. Michael, why do you decide to kill? Do you have no heart? Issei, I don't know what you're talking about, sir. Azazel, don't play dumb, brat, we know who your family is. Especially your Aunt Marie. Issei, upon hearing that name, just clenched his fists. Issei, how do you know about my aunt? Azazel, it's because we finished her off. Issei, because she was a good person, because she was taken from me. Surzek, are you an idiot? She's a Grimm just like you. And her kind deserves to disappear. Issei, I don't know what you're talking about. Odin, what did you do to my little son? Odin, brat, I've lived for many years and I know when someone is lying, so tell me where he is. Issei, let me go. Surzek approached Issei and tried to read his memories, but he couldn't. Something prevented him. Azazel, there's no point in denying it any longer, it only confirms our words. Issei, let me go, I already told you that I am not what you say. Michael, just confess and we'll give you a fair deal. Surzek, we've been keeping an eye on you and we know that you are a partner of Murayama, my sister's pawn. Issei, what does that have to do with this? Surzek, because you killed my soldiers. Issei, am I forbidden from defending myself? How many lives have you taken? Michael, none. Issei, I know the history of every race and you have the worst of all. Plus the demons who would do anything for power. Where Surzek instantly hit him in the face, causing Issei to spit out a tooth and blood. Issei, that's all you have. Surzek, hearing those words, was about to hit him again. Michael stopped him. Odin, what did you do to my son? Issei, well, since you know what I am, I'll tell you, okay. Well, your son the liar returned to nothingness. In a few words, he is dead. Odin then struck him in the stomach. Odin, don't you have the heart to kill someone? Issei, you're an idiot, he had something worse in mind, I just stopped him. Odin, he could change all that, now it's impossible. Issei, yes, they are ungrateful. Azazel, We never asked for your help, you idiot brat. Issei, none of you are innocent. You think your father was someone with a good heart. Puff, are you an idiot because you think Lucifer fell or the crow? Michael was upset to hear those words and created a spear of light that stuck into Issei's leg where he just resisted the pain. Issei, that action only confirms my words. Azazel, you've got a lot of nerve talking like that, you big-headed brat. I've fought a lot of Grimms and they're all equally arrogant. But in the end they die, but none of them regret it. Issei, because they would have to regret their good deeds. Azazel, yes, of course. Issei, you're done talking nonsense. Surzek, Grimms are destined to be alone because they only bring death in their wake. Issei, and demons only bring destruction in their wake. Where Surzek instantly gave him another blow to the face. Issei, you're happy to do that, aren't you? And believe me, there are many people who would be happy to see you and Patriarch Phoenix. Issei, aha. Odin, I'm gone, you guys do what you want with him. Leaving the place, leaving the three leaders. Issei, you know they must have killed me just by seeing me, since leaving me alive only made me prepare. Where a seal appeared on his wrist, and Issei spat out his blood where he instantly left the place, leaving three people bothered. Issei appeared in the trailer where he fell to his knees and spat out a lot of blood in pain where he took a first aid kit to heal himself. Issei, my only salvation will be to leave this place. But before that, taking a seat at the table and looking at a book. Issei, I recently discovered how to free a person from being a slave to a demon. It wasn't that easy, but with effort I achieved it, and now my sister will be free. I hope this weapon helps a friend. Thanks to you I will be able to free Murayama, and we will be able to leave here. Going to the closet and taking an instrument to remove the piece. In that he took out another seal, and with some blood that Murayama gave him he put it on it, and teleported where he appeared in a forest. Issei, I hope that game is over. Starting to walk and looking around where he stopped his step as he heard some moans that stopped his heart, as he hoped it wasn't that. He carefully walked towards the source of the noise, and when he arrived he couldn't help but shed a tear as in the distance he saw his partner and Vela having hex-like beasts. Issei took a step back where he made the noise. Both dragons heard the noise and set their sights on the place. Murayama, seeing Issei, did not know what to say. Murayama, Issei. At that moment the missing person reappeared in the trailer where he began to cry. Issei, why is this happening to me? Was that the important thing you had to do? Wiping away tears. Issei, those idiots were right about one thing, and that was that Grimms are destined to be alone. I think it's time for me to leave this place that has only brought misfortune to my life. Getting out of the trailer, and removing the sheet from the car that had the trailer where he opened the door and started it, and without having a direction in mind he left Ka. Chapter 13. A month had passed since Issei left the city of Ka, heading to another country where it was difficult for him to leave, but in the end he managed to do so with the money his parents left him. He bought a car and put it on a trailer where he began to travel, until he got far away from all civilization. Meanwhile Murayama, since Issei saw her in such a state, did not know what to do, since he would never forgive her for such a thing. Her friends tried to cheer her up, but it was even harder when they found out that her boyfriend was a Grimm, which surprised them. The leaders sent many of their soldiers to find Issei so that he could receive his punishment, but it was impossible since he had hidden himself very well. Leifi, on the other hand, while walking with her brother, they stopped and saw a wanted poster for Issei. Arthur, I never thought I'd see a Grimm. Besides, anyone can marry one. I'll tell the rest of you, maybe they'll be interested. Leifi, on the other hand, was worried when she saw that sign, since her first friend was in danger, and just imagining that something bad would happen to him made her heart hurt, and she herself didn't understand why. Arthur, Leifi, are you listening to me? She came out of her thoughts and saw her brother where he just nodded. Later, they both arrived at their base where they informed their companions. Vala, so that guy was a Grimm. Biko, you know him. Valley, well, I only saw him once where he was looking at me and Murayama having something. From his expression they were something, ha ha ha. Leifi got upset upon hearing that and quickly expressed it. Leifi, how can you say that so calmly? Vala, what do you mean? Leify, Issei is a good person and doesn't deserve to be treated like this. Arthur, don't tell me you know him. Leify, that's right, he's my friend. Kuroka, now since when? Leify, Kuroka-sama, this is no time for games. Arthur, I asked you a question. Leify, he has been a good person for a long time, and he is not like the stories say. They are. Instantly Arthur approached her and slapped her, which surprised some people since it was the first time that had happened. Leify on the other hand looked up, noticing his brother's serious gaze. Arthur, you know what dirty Grimms are like. Leify, don't say that if you don't know anything about them. Arthur, they only kill for pleasure. Leify, what makes us different from them is that we do the same thing. Besides, we are also human since you only know how to use a sword, otherwise you would be a normal human. Arthur, hearing that, raised his hand ready to slap him again, where Leify just looked at him seriously, ready to receive the blow. Leify, he just helped and they pay him this way. Vala, don't tell me that idiot shot me back then. Leify, yes. Vali, upon hearing that, got upset and went to Leify, and when he was in front of her, he grabbed her by the neck and lifted her up. Vala, you should have mentioned that earlier so I could kill him. Are you planning to challenge me? Leify, I will support him. Biko, hey Vala, let her go, that's already happened, you don't solve anything by doing this. Vala just tightened his grip, but seconds later he let go and started walking. Vali, at least I took something from him, and it was something very good. But when I see him I will kill him. Leaving the place where Arthur saw his sister for a moment, but then she left, and so it was with the rest, where in the end she was left alone. Days later it was night, and Issei was in front of a campfire while he moved the firewood to give it more heat and thus be able to cook. Until someone sat near him on the trunk where Issei didn't even move his head. Issei, and I thought no one would find me. Leify, well, I had something of yours, and even if you don't believe it, it wasn't that easy because I had to work hard to make it work. Issei, you want something? Leify, I heard what happened and I'm sorry. Issei, don't worry, there's nothing you can do now, we just have to keep going. Looking up to see the stars. Leify, I know you're still not okay. Issei, during my stay here I realized that since I entered the supernatural only tragedies happened except for one thing. Leify, and that would be it. Issei, be my friend. Seeing her for the first time and giving her her first smile. Leify, thank you for those words. Issei, you should vent too. I know you're feeling bad. Approaching him and giving him a hug where he didn't know what to say, but little by little he began to cry while Leify just listened. Minutes later they both separated from the hug. Issei, sorry. Leify, it's okay, it's good to vent from time to time. Issei, I'll be living here from now on so you're allowed to come. Giving her a stamp which she took. Leify, what will you live from? Issei, there's a lake not far away, and plants and animals abound here. I don't wish to get involved in that any further. Leify, that's good, plus you're wanted now. Issei, it was to be seen. Leify, look Issei, bad things happen, you can't put a remedy, right? Issei, true. Leify, false. Whenever the world turns its back on you, what you should do is turn your back on the world. Issei, if I go back I'll have to face the past. And I don't want to fight again or see her. At that moment Leify gave him a light blow on the head. Issei, why did you do that? Leify, it doesn't matter, it's in the past. Issei, yes, but it hurt. Leify, oh yeah, the past can hurt. But the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it. Issei, you know what would happen if I go back to that world, right? Leify, I know you'll have some problems, but I know you'll get through it because you're high to Issei. Plus, I'll be supporting you. Issei, why are you doing this? Leify, I don't know, but I want you to be happy and I don't want you to lock yourself in this place. Issei, I'll think about it, yeah. Leify, great. Issei, tell me Leify, do you want to see the trailer? Upon hearing those words, Issei could see how her eyes sparkled, making him smile a little. With that, she stood up and extended her hand, which Leifei took. They both headed to the trailer, where upon opening it Leifei was surprised to see so many things. The first thing he went to was the books, where he took Arthur Pendragon's and sat down to read. Issei just smiled and closed the door to let her read in peace. Chapter 14. It was a new day and Issei was leaving his camping tent, where he prepared some coffee, and when he was finished he had 2 cups, one for him and one for Leifei. I was about to open the trailer, but the door was opened by Leifei, who had dark circles under his eyes. Issei, you didn't sleep, right? Leifei, it was all new and I didn't want to waste time. Issei just smiled at her and gave her the cup, which she took, and they both sat on the log. Leifei, you know, Issei, I read something interesting. Issei, and that would be it. Leifei, if a person has Grimms in their family and is born with nothing, they can become one. Issei, and that's it. Leifei, from what I read, there were cases where some could not inherit the ability of their ancestors, so they looked for a way until they succeeded. Issei, I see, but why do you tell me that? Leifei, easy. Standing up and standing in front of Issei with a smile. Leifei, I want to be a Grimm. Issei, upon hearing that, spat out his coffee in surprise. Issei, wait, why? Leifei, they protect humans with only their intellect. Issei, I know you can be one since you are related to Arthur Pendragon, but... Leifei, I know, I would have to give up my magic, or rather everything. Issei, you can protect whoever you want with the skills you already possess. Leifei, I want to continue my family's legacy. Issei, and your current family? Leifei, my brother is not the same anymore and I don't have a good relationship with my parents. That's why I left home. Issei, you know that being by my side will only cause you more problems if they find out that you are a Grimm. Leifei, life is a risk and I'm ready to take it. Issei stood up and gave her a smile. Issei, if that is your wish, I will help you. Leifei, good. Taking off his hat and throwing it into the fire. Issei, that wasn't necessary. Leifei, from today I stopped being a witch. But anyway, I'll tell you what we have to do. Issei, I know. Leifei, then why did you act like you didn't know? Issei, I thought you were just curious, I didn't think you would do it. Leifei, I'm ready, let's go. With some nervousness and a blush on his cheeks, Issei put both of his hands on her cheeks and approached her, where he then gave her a kiss. Seconds later they both separated, all red in the face with embarrassment. Leifei, well, the next thing is to make a position for him to help me. They both headed to the trailer and looked for the necessary ingredients, and when they finished only one thing was missing, the blood of a Grimm. Leifei, I'll be in your care from now on. Pouring the little blood into the bottle, he drank it all, mixing it all together. Minutes later he began to let out some soft cries of pain. Issei couldn't do anything but watch, since it was something she had to do on her own. Minutes later she was getting up from the ground with Issei's help. Leifei, that's it now, I have no magic. Issei, you should rest. Leifei, the truth is I'm not tired, I feel good. Issei, sure. Leifei, yep. Issei, then come on, I'll teach you something about seals. Upon hearing that word, she smiled like never before and took Issei by the arm, since she really wanted to learn. A month later it was night, and they were both in front of a campfire. Issei, you learn quickly, you are worthy of being my student. Leifei, thank you, teacher. After finishing saying that, they both started laughing. Issei, you reached level 2 in a month, that's great progress, keep it up. Leifei, thanks. This stamp thing is really great, it's better than magic. Issei, I'm glad to hear that, but tell me they won't look for you. Leifei, I don't think they already know that I know you, maybe I'm also wanted for being someone who knew you. Issei, I see. Leifei, but we have to get out of here and do something. I have to practice too. Issei, fine, but tell me which weapon you handle best. Leifei, I'll use the dragon-slaying spear. Issei, be careful, with just one rose you could kill a middle-class dragon. Leify, where did they get Samuel's blood from? Issei, a Grimm in the past was taken to Olympus and managed to escape. But he didn't hesitate to go through Hades. He used a high-level seal where he cut off part of his arm and well. Leify, what happened? Issei, he tortured him a little and Hades told him that if he let him live he would give him his blood to kill dragons. The Grimm without thinking much accepted and let him live. Well, that's what I read. Leify, wow, that a god has supplicated is new. Issei, the same thing happened to many gods. Over time you will see their reactions and their desire to kill us. Leify, but we will be ready, right? Issei, yes. Well, if you want to improve we will go for a walk tomorrow. Leify just nodded and got up from his seat and went to sleep since he wanted to have energy to fight. The next day they both took their weapons, which they kept in a seal, and then headed outside the barrier. They walked for a few hours while talking about trivial things until Issei pushed Leify as lightning struck there. Akeno, now you did it. Issei, boy, did they find us so fast. Rias, we were near here and well someone recognized you. Where Murayama had a slight smile when he saw Issei but was annoyed when he saw him with Leify. Issei, I see. At that moment someone else spoke, which surprised Leify. Arthur, so you've been with him all this time. Leify, what's going on here? Vala, well, a Grimm is more important than us, so we made an alliance with the leaders. Arthur, Leify comes back here and you will get a light punishment. Leify, I'm sorry but I will follow in the footsteps of my ancestors. Pulling out a spear causing a shiver to run through two people. Vala, what kind of weapon do you have? Kuroka, Leify, I don't sense any magic in you. Leify stared at her where Kuroka felt a chill. Biko, you're a Grimm too. The group, upon hearing that, didn't know what to say, except Arthur, who hadn't expected that. Leify, yes I am and I am proud of it. Murayama, get away from him, damn it. Issei, don't talk to my partner like that. Murayama, Issei, we can talk if you come back I can talk to the leaders. Issei, I helped you without asking for anything in return and you pay me back with that. You know, a punch is better than seeing that scene. Murayama, it was just once, I'm fine now. Vala, don't say that dear, you don't remember what happened a few days ago. Taking her by the waist where Issei continued with his calm gaze. Issei, I know I don't deserve you but I won't spend my whole life proving that I do. Turning around and wanting to leave. Murayama, you're a coward, you knew it, you don't fight for love, you're just afraid. Leify, you have no right to say those words, since he gave his all to save you many times, even risking his life. But you repaying him in this way disgusts me. Murayama, I'll kill you, damn it. Activating her armor and going against Leify where she was ready to attack, but then Issei appeared where he scratched Murayama's armor where she screamed in pain since she was part demon. Issei, I won't let you hurt her. Vala, today you will die here for what you did to me. Issei just clenched his sword and Leify took an attack stance just like the rest of the members. Chapter 15. The first to launch into the attack was Valley against Issei with his armor ready where he stopped his blow with his sword where they both stepped back a little. But at the same time Arthur appeared behind Issei ready to stab his sword into Issei's back. He for his part couldn't do anything but wait for the blow but luckily for him Leify used his spear to stop his brother. Issei removed Vala from his side and stopped an attack from Biko. Leify, Issei, we have to fight together, okay? He just nodded and they both turned their backs to each other, each protecting one side. While the rest of the group was ready. Murayama, noticing this, became upset and went against Leify since he wanted to get rid of her, where Leify evaded the attack and put a seal on his abdomen where it instantly exploded. Leify, you think I'm going to let you kill me, you crazy hitch? Rias, are you both idiots? There are more of us than you, and you are also humans and you will get tired. Issei, we are humans but we have something that supernatural beings don't have. Rias, and what nonsense that would be. Issei, we protect our loved ones. Where instantly Kaneko launched herself at Issei where he crouched and Leify stuck his spear into the Nikomata's arm causing her to scream. Kuroka was upset when she saw this because they had hurt her sister. Kuroka, how dare you hurt my sister? I considered you a close friend, but that changes today. Launching several attacks against the couple where they activated a defense-type seal. Issei, Leify, the one they want is me. I'll take care of them while you escape. Leify, Issei, I will never do that. Issei, but... Leify, I will never forgive myself and I'm afraid of losing you. I love you, Issei, and if we're going to run away it will be together or we'll die together. Issei wanted to answer, but she put her finger on the young man's sides. Leify, tell me what you think later, okay? Now let's fight. Giving him a smile where Issei returned it. Seconds. Later the seal was destroyed where the team launched themselves against the couple. Murayama went against Leify along with Arthur, while the rest against Issei plus one person being the Hakurukoi. Issei, I won't die that easily. Rias, I hope so because I'm looking forward to some fun. This is exciting since it'll be my first time killing a Grimm. Kiba, I'll take care of helping her, Bucho. Creating two swords and going against Issei where he ran against the entire group. Murayama, damn you, how dare you talk to what is mine? Leify, don't say that about him since Issei is a person, not an object, you just use him and throw him away later. Murayama, when I kill you everything will go back to normal. Arthur, you have sullied the Pendragon name, and as the eldest I have the right to kill you. Leify, the person who tarnished the family name was you. Evading every attack but occasionally receiving a scratch. Valley, now that I see it better, Leify is not bad. Issei, don't you dare touch her. Valley, I like to take other people's belongings, ha 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 ha. Where Issei received a blow to the ribs from Kaneko where he could only spit out a lot of blood. Leify seeing that wanted to go to him, but it was not possible. Issei, noticing that Akeno was going against him, took out a small bag and destroyed it, from which came out a powder that fell on Akeno. Instantly she began to feel very itchy. Issei, it's something I prepared for the fallen, I hope you like it. Zenobia, how dare you do that to him? With sword in hand where Issei took out another seal and when he evaded Zenovia's sword he put the seal on her. When Zenobia tried to lift her up, it was impossible because she was passing by too much. Zenobia, what did you do? Issei, you guys think I wasted my time, well you're wrong. I was studying about each race or weapons and how to stop them. Taking several stamps out of his pocket. Issei, it's time to fight equally. Running towards Zenobia and kicking her in the abdomen where she only spat out in pain. At that moment Issei took out another sword from his seal where he stopped an attack from Kiba where he embedded it in Kiba's leg causing his screams of agony from the pain since it was a sacred sword. Biko extended his staff towards Issei where he barely evaded it where he instantly put a seal on the staff causing the attack to return to his attacker with double the force. Rias seeing that got upset and launched an attack with the Ray of Destruction but Issei took out a seal making the attack return to its owner. Issei, they wanted to fight a Grimm, so be it. Valley, upon hearing those words, became more upset and went against Issei. While Leify had caused several scratches to his attackers. Leify, you guys think I'll just let you kill me easily? I'm just a beginner at this Grimm thing, but Issei taught me a lot. Murayama, stop saying his name, you don't have that right. Leify, stop treating him like your property. Arthur, let's just get this over with quickly. I don't wish to see your face anymore. Opening a dimensional gap where Fenrir came out, Leify became more serious upon seeing him since she knew it wouldn't be easy. Minutes later everyone was tired from the battle but the most annoyed were the demons since they couldn't kill them. The Grimms had several scratches and broken bones but they were still able to fight. Issei, do you still want to continue or don't tell me you called for reinforcements? Vala, damn you, don't talk nonsense. Rias, I'll use something Oniai-sama told me. Taking a sphere out of his pocket he threw it at both of them. Instantly both of them created several barriers to defend themselves from the attack. The sphere just touching the barrier caused a huge explosion that Murayama took advantage of by taking out his dragon-killing sword where he stood behind both of them wanting to kill Leify, but Issei noticed that, and pushed Leify where she was surprised by his action, but seeing how a sword pierced part of her abdomen surprised and scared her. Leify, Issei! She screamed with all her might as she watched Issei spit out blood. While Murayama was in shock from what he had just done, where he took out his sword and removed his helmet. Seeing her like this, Leify got upset and stood up and pushed Murayama. Rias, well, one less. Valley, TSK, I wanted to kill him but something was wrong, woman. Leify, Issei resisted yes. He just held the wound where Leify could barely see something blurry. Issei, run away. Leify, never. Taking a stamp out of his pocket, the group saw this and launched an attack, as they did not want any surprises. But unfortunately for him, a barrier had been activated earlier, giving me time for both of them to teleport. Both Rias and Vala let out a scream of fury. Leify, upon reaching the trailer, put Issei on her back although her legs dragged since he was taller than her. Opening the door, he laid Issei down on the small bed and began to heal him. Leify, his breathing is very weak. You can't leave yet. Issei, I still don't know your answer. Putting a blanket to stop the bleeding. 2 hours passed where Leify was able to sit down since he had managed to save him. He laid his head near the bed to rest a little since it had been a long day. A month passed where Issei was still unconscious, where Leify trained every day in the morning and in the afternoon he spent time with Issei waiting for him to wake up. Leify, do you still remember when we met? It was something strange, right? Since I almost killed you when I found out you were a Grimm. But when I saw your calm face, I put that thought aside. While holding Issei's hand. Leify, Issei, wake up if I want to talk to you, please. Yes. Shedding a tear knowing that a lot of time has passed. Leify, I will be stronger to help you and prevent this from happening again. Chapter 16. Days passed, and Issei was still in a coma after so much time, while Leify dedicated himself to hunting everyone who approached the area where they were in order to improve his skills. After a walk to investigate, nothing bad happened, so he decided to return home, where upon arriving he saw Issei still in the same state. Leify, when will you wake up, Issei? It's been almost 2 months and nothing. Letting out a sigh and touching Issei's forehead, and then leaving the camper again. After that he went out again to look for water, and after walking a bit he destroyed one of the seals he had used as surveillance, where without thinking twice he went to the place only to be surprised to see a person. Leify, what are you doing here? Aren't you already happy doing this? Murayama, where is Issei? I want to apologize to him. Leify, he's not well right now. Murayama, I know I haven't behaved well during this time. Leify, you hurt Issei by doing that. You disgust me. Murayama, I know I have no excuse for that, but I want to see him, and at least have a friendship. Leify, he is not feeling well. Murayama, please, I want to regain your friendship. In the past, Drake warned me what was happening to me, but I didn't pay attention to it, thinking that I could solve it. Leify, go, I'll tell him. Murayama, please. Leify, I can't do it because Issei has been in a coma ever since that day. So I can't let you see him in such a state. Murayama, I understand, and when he recovers you can give him my message. Leify, I'll try. Murayama, thank you and sorry for everything that happened. This may be the last time we see each other. Leify, what's wrong? Murayama, Rise of him released the beast of the apocalypse. Leify, upon hearing that, opened his eyes in surprise. Leify, now I understand why they haven't come very often. Murayama, I will join the battlefield, and if something happens at least I wanted Issei's forgiveness. Turning around and activating the armor and leaving the place. While Leify stood there for a few minutes thinking what to do. Leify, I have to go too because there are people who will be involved in that battle. Returning to the trailer to look for all kinds of weapons. Upon arrival he began to search, and having everything ready and being in front of the door he turned around only to see Issei once again. She approached him and gave him a kiss on the forehead. Leifi, wish me luck, Issei, and I hope we meet again. Shedding a tear and leaving the place. As soon as she left, she headed out to join the battle as well, and after a long walk she managed to reach the underworld where the battle was taking place, which surprised her to see so much destruction. Many were surprised when they saw her, but Arthur gave her a serious look. Arthur, what are you doing here? Leifi, I'm here to help. Rias, the only way you can help is if you just give yourself away so you don't get in the way. Leifi, I'm not here to help you. I'm here to help the people who will be harmed in this battle. Passing through the group and summoning a dragon slayer sword. Murayama, I'll have your back. Leifi, I hope so. With a slight smile and taking the path just like Murayama. Days passed and the battle was going from bad to worse for everything supernatural. Meanwhile, in a trailer, the fingers of his hand were moving slowly until he suddenly opened his eyes. She was like that for a few minutes until she took off the blanket she was wearing and tried to get up, but as soon as she did so she fell to the ground because her legs were asleep. Issei, Leifi, where are you? He said it with the little strength he had and struggling to get up again. After half an hour of struggling he managed to stand up, but while he was staggering until he managed to hold on to the small table that was there, and to his surprise there was a letter for the being of Leifi. Issei, Leifi, Issei. If you're reading this, it's because after almost 2 months you finally managed to wake up, and the truth is I would have liked to see you, but I had to go help stop the beast of the apocalypse. Issei, I know you still haven't told me your answer, but just so you know, I've always loved you with all my heart. Issei only shed a tear when he finished reading it, and just by doing so he put it on the table again, and with all his strength he opened the door only to fall to the ground. Issei, it's not time to rest, I have to help her. Crawling while his wound opened, but he didn't pay attention to it. After a moment he stopped because he couldn't because of the pain from the previous attack. Issei, because I can't help her after all she's done for me. Getting up and going to the trailer to heal his wounds and begin his training. A few days passed where he began to train and search for information on how to stop the beast of the apocalypse, but to date he still had no result. Issei, it was to be seen that I would not find information about him. Looking for more information in every book, and when I take one out I notice something behind the shelf, and when I take it and open it I am surprised. Issei, if this is the only option I don't care. Just wait for me, if Leifi. Saving the scroll and packing some things into a backpack and heading off. Issei, before I go with her I have to find that thing so that it can be served. Heading towards England without taking any breaks. After a long time he arrived in the country where, to his delight, the human world was as it always had been. Then he enters the territory of the Pendragon family with the help of an ancient map. He walked for a few minutes until he stopped as he noticed a large number of stamps. With a single drop of blood he managed to remove all the seal, and after taking a few steps he was surprised to see a sword stuck in the stone. Issei, wow, I never expected to see it, but this sword will help us in battle. Creating a seal around the stone and saving it since he previously tried to remove it, but it was impossible. With everything ready, on this occasion he headed to the underworld. Chapter 17. The leaders were forming a plan to stop the beast of the apocalypse until a guard entered. Lucifer-sama. Surzek, we are in an important meeting. Yes, but someone came and well. Surzek, and just because of such stupidity you interrupt this meeting. Before the guard could respond, someone entered the room, surprising most people, plus one person. Leifi, seeing Issei, couldn't help but smile as a tear of happiness came out, and without thinking twice she went to him, and gave him a hug that he reciprocated. Leifi, when you woke up? Issei, a few weeks ago, and well, sorry for the delay. Issei just gave him a smile, but instantly many guards surrounded him ready to attack. Surzek, well, I'm glad you gave yourself up. Azazel, guards, take him away. Leifi, maybe they are idiots or what? Michael, little one, have some respect. Leifi, they don't see the situation we are in and you continue with this. Surzek, he's a Grimm. Leifi, I am too, so what? Besides, you are a demon and don't tell me that you are someone very loved. Issei, You guys think Grimms kill for fun. Michael, that's right. Issei, if that were the case, that crow over there would have been dead a long time ago. Azazel, you're threatening me. Issei, I know you were the one who killed my parents a few years ago. If I were a cold-blooded killer, I would have made you suffer. Many were surprised by such a statement, especially Leify, who did not know this fact. Issei, but I controlled myself since you weren't worth it. The Grimms were born to take care of you humans since in the past you treated them like toys. Odin still? Issei, Loki had to die and I don't regret it. We have to defeat that thing first, and then we'll settle that matter. Surzek good. Taking a seat at the table like the rest of the leaders. Murayama approached Issei with great embarrassment. Murayama, I'm glad you're okay. Issei, thank you. Murayama, sorry. Issei, you know that hurt me, but I partly knew that was going to happen. Murayama, how? Issei, I know what a dragon is like, and well, when I saw how the battle with the Hakurukoi ended, I had that feeling. Murayama, Issei, I know it's late to say this, but we can be friends like before. Extending his hand with a small smile. Issei, of course. Taking Murayama's hand, which she happily squeezed. Leify, I'm glad everything was resolved. Issei, it's better not, but okay. Placing a seal on the ground where a rock with the sword appeared, which surprised everyone as the meeting was over. Issei, I had a trip to England, and while I walked a bit, I followed the map that Arthur left, and well, it led me to this. Leify, but how? Issei, I know that only you will be able to get her out. Leify, and why didn't you take it out? Issei, I guess only a Grimm Pendragon could do it. Leify gave him a small smile and walked towards the rock, and when he was about to take it, someone got there first. Arthur, she's mine as the major, I must take her. Leify didn't say anything and gave him space while Arthur put his hand on the hilt, and when he tried to pull it out, nothing happened, it didn't move an inch. That caused Issei to laugh while Leify just held back his desire. Issei, you are not a Grimm. Arthur, it's my family, I should be able to. Leify walked up and stood in front of his brother, and took the sword, which he instantly pulled out. Issei, I told you. Arthur just clicked his tongue and slowly left the room, everyone leaving only Issei and Leify. Leify, thank you. Issei, it will help you more in this battle. Leify, these have been very hard days. Issei, I'm sorry, and don't worry. I'll find a solution so that all this ends and so you can have a good life. Leify, that's what it means. Issei approached her and gave her a hug. Issei, sorry for the delay, and I like you too. Leify, this is the happiest moment of my life. Issei, same. Then you want to have a date with me, since from what I heard the attack will happen in a few days while that beast is sealed. Leify, wherever you want. Issei, then let's go to the park. She just gave him a smile, and they both left the room and went to have fun while they waited. Days later, many had their battle suits while Issei and Leify only had their weapons. Murayama, I will protect you this time just as you did in the past. Issei, thank you. Where they instantly heard a great roar, and as the seal was breaking until they saw a great beast come out. Leify, I hope this is the last time I see her. The first time I saw her, I was really scared. Issei, don't worry, it will be like that. Taking out a dragon slayer and Leify the sword of his family, where seconds later everyone launched into the attack while Triaxa launched many attacks. The attack hit many while Issei created a barrier to protect his beloved, and then Leify launched into the attack, making a scratch on one of the beast's heads, causing it to let out a great roar of pain. Issei, Leify, get out of the way. She turned back to him as the rest of the gods launched many attacks that the beast easily destroyed. Leify, Issei, you found a way to finish him off. Issei, for a few days while I was recovering I investigated, but I found nothing. Leify, it's understandable since well maybe no Grimm took it out on him. Issei, let's go. She just nodded seriously before they went back to attacking again. Days passed and the attack ceased while some people thought of a way to seal it again, but to date there was still no result. Issei, Murayama, you should rest, you've been fighting for days. Murayama, don't worry, I can do it. Leify, Issei is right, go rest a little, you need it since you have transferred your power to the majority. Murayama, I won't do it, I will continue to the end. Activating his armor again and going on the attack. Issei looked around and noticed many wounded and some dead. Issei, those were very happy days by your side. Leify, what do you mean by that? Issei, I lied to you, Leify, I found a solution to stop him, but the truth is I wanted to spend time with you. Leify, I don't like what you're getting at. Issei, behind the bookshelf I found a scroll on how to destroy anything. Leify, at what cost? Issei, all that remains of my life. But as long as you live, that cost is nothing. Leify, I don't accept it. We just started dating and now you come out with this. Issei, I told you a long time ago why a Grimm doesn't live long, and this is why. Leify, if you go, I'll go with you. Taking her partner's hand where she gave him a smile, he in turn returned the smile. Issei, fine if it is like that. Taking out the scroll and placing it on the ground. Issei, all we have to do is put our blood on this scroll. And well, after that, we just have to wait. Leify, of course. Issei, please tell everyone to leave because if not they could get hurt too. She just nodded and looked for her companions, who she quickly found and explained Issei's plan to them, obviously leaving aside the fact of what they would do. After Traitor was left alone, he went against them to have more fun, but that's when both Issei and Leify started their plan. Issei, thank you for everything. Leify, if there is another life, I hope to meet you again. Dropping his blood where Traitor was chained with chains made of blood, causing him to slowly start screaming in pain as his body was being destroyed. Murayama, Issei, Leify, what the hell are you doing? Issei, it's the only way. While his black hair slowly began to change to a white color, as he was becoming old like Leify. Meanwhile Traitor just screamed, wanting to break free, but in the end it was in vain until she disappeared completely. Having achieved their goal, both Issei and Leify fell to the ground without strength. Murayama, because they did, we could still look for another solution. Issei, many were dying, it was the only way. Having a small smile with the little strength he had. Kuroka, you are my friend Leify, and I will not allow you to go that easily. Standing in front of both of them, and putting her hands on their chests where a light came out of it, and how little by little both of them recovered their color and their youth. At the end Kuroka fell to the ground from exhaustion. Kuroka, they owe it to me, he. Leify, how is that possible? Kuroka, we're friends and I won't let you go that easily. Giving a hug to her friend just like Murayama did to Issei. After everyone witnessed what happened, they began to celebrate the victory while some gods congratulated Issei and Leify as heroes. Surzek, noticing that, better left the subject aside like the rest and let everything happen with time. Both Issei and Leify were happy that it was all over. 17 years later, two young people were in the trailer, a 17-year-old girl and a 15-year-old boy. Wani-chan, what are you doing? Well, I'm reading how father and mother defeated the beast of the apocalypse, and the truth is I don't get bored of reading it. Same, but we have to go, our friends are waiting for us. You should know that they will wait for us. Maybe, but what about our parents? Have you forgotten how they scolded us last time? The older sister just shivered and stood up and put the book on the stand where she then walked away. When he opened the trailer before leaving, he saw everything his parents had gathered and with a smile he left. End.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.